Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves. I know we're getting into the thousands of them, and we're really making progress. I really want to get through with this series. I have to do 368, actually, I think I've calculated, because there's one for every year, plus there are some duplications and things that I want to deal with and give some alternatives, and that's a lot, but we're in the 240s. And so we're moving along really well, and this series is going to be complete rather soon. And I'm just really, really happy about that, because we run all these series, and most of them are perpetual. They never end. But this one is going to have an end point, and then I'll have to think of some other reason to get my favorite recordings into the mix. I'm sure I'll figure it out. So today I want to talk about the Bruckner Te Deum, my favorite recording of the Bruckner Te Deum, and it is this one. It's Herbert von Karajan's first DG recording. You have to be careful with Karajan because he recorded the same stuff a million times. And he remade this for DG digitally after he left the Berlin Philharmonic in Vienna. And it's one of those sort of glassy, not particularly appealing digital jobs. It's the same performance, interpretively, basically, but it doesn't sound anything as good. This thing sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. It has two things going for it. It has an amazingly well-balanced organ, for some reason, which is not something you could ever count on Deutsche Grammophon or Karajan to do. And the playing of the orchestra is incredible. I mean, you know how the Te Deum goes. It's just ya ta ta bum, ya ta ta dum, ya ta ta bum, ya ta ta. Then the chorus comes in unison. Te Deum laudamus, te Dominum. Okay, fine, you get it. It's just two elements, essentially, right? You've got this big, huge chord held by the orchestra, the organ, arpeggiated by the violins, and then you've got the chorus singing in unison, just these two massive blocks of sound. And Karajan, for some reason, because he usually hated the choir, he really did. I mean, he tried to ignore them as much as he could in most of his recordings that involved voices, but not here. For some reason, he understands that you have these two sound masses that have to balance. And I have to tell you, the Berlin Philharmonic strings, everyone talked about how beautiful they are and all that, and they are. They're glorious. But the sheer power that those strings generate, there are some recordings that really show what that string section can do, and it was really playing fortissimo. There's the Bartók music for strings, percussion, and celesta, and the Prokofiev fifth, and this, because those strings come in with their yum bum bum bum, yum, and you just like this, you like whack the gong into your head. I mean, it just blows you into the back room. It's a pressure wave of sound that comes at you. I'll never forget the first time I heard it. I think it's unspeakably thrilling. The recording has just a huge dynamic range. And the other thing about it is that, Karajan's Bruckner was what you might call transcendental Bruckner. He always conducted with his eyes closed. He was like this, and he'd sit there, and he always had a perfectly steady tempo. He didn't speed up or slow down. There was a certain Zen-like quality, we often like to say, but it could sound rather cold and rather impersonal, because transcendental music, generally speaking, a la Karajan, is cold and impersonal. It's like late Stravinsky cold and impersonal. And it just so happens that approach works fabulously well in Bruckner's Te Deum. It's amazing because Bruckner, wrote those big, long, huge symphonies, but the Te Deum is only about 25 minutes long. His vocal music, his sacred vocal music, is quite concise. And the most marvelous thing about it is that it just has to keep coming at you steadily. And the result is primal. It's just a primal shout of transcendental choral glory. Not chloral, choral glory. There we go. Never mind. I'm going to try and say it again. It's amazing. It really is. It's volcanic and inexpressively powerful, but also it has that kind of massive impersonal quality that that really lets you know that you're dealing with something which is superhuman. And that's the quality the music has. It really is. It's astonishing. Now, there are other wonderful performances of the Bruckner Te Deum. Of course, there's Joachim. There's that old EMI one with Barenboim that was really good. Zubin Mehta did a pretty good one for Decca. There are good Bruckner Te Deums. Even the accordion singers on Hyperion are quite good. But this is special, truly special. And Karajan never, ever surpassed it. His remakes aren't as good. There may be an earlier one on EMI. I don't even remember. I think probably there is. This one just does it. It has everything. Wonderful soloists. The choir is quite good. It's the Vienna Singverein. I will say one thing. This is the piece that taught me to hate people with perfect pitch, because when I was in high school, we had a music teacher who theoretically had perfect pitch. And perfect pitch people, they run around like this all the time. With their hands stuck in their ear because they're comparing what they're hearing to their own internal sense of what the pitch is supposed to be. And she would be running around. I played this for the main music teacher, who was my piano teacher and who was really a nice guy. And he was the director of our glee club in which I sang. And I just thought this was amazing. And I was like, can't we sing this? Let's do this. Listen to this. And we're listening to this, and she's sitting there like this going, they're a quarter tone sharp, they're a ninth of a tone flat, they're 7 commas short of a period. It was making me crazy. I wanted to kill her, to strangle her. And after that, I just pitied people with perfect pitch. I really do, because you're not going to like anything. There's no pitch is ever perfect. None of it is. So if you think that you have the standard and it's hardwired into your brain, you spend your whole life with a finger in your ear like this going, oh, it's not quite right. Oh. Sad, isn't it? Just listen to this and be blown away. Oh, one other problem I do have to mention. First of all, it's only 25 minutes long. So the coupling here, unfortunately, is the Verdi Requiem. And it's terrible. It's a terrible Verdi Requiem with fabulous soloists. My God, it's Freni, Ludwig, Kazuta, and Gyarov. But it's just mushy and lousy. It's typical Karajan, horrible sacred music. Tacky, slow, boring. It's fun to make a comparison if you're into this sort of thing, because the Bruckner is just the opposite of that. Totally the opposite of that. But the Verdi, oh my gosh, it's just dire. So try and download it or get it in a streaming service, or find some way, if you can, to get it separately. I have it on my phone, or my iPad or whatever, iPod or whatever that thing was at one point. And I just deleted all the Verdi and kept the Bruckner. But it's under V, because the Bruckner is the filler to the Verdi, which is the main item. What are you going to do? Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.